Hey y'all, we are back for another episode of Love After Lockup. I am ready to talk about this episode, okay? So, I'm going to start with Courtney and Josh. Now, Courtney is upset with Josh because he is just acting like he is not attracted to her. He don't want to have intimate private time with her. And she's basically letting it be known, like, you on the phone with your friends, you talking and laughing and giggling or whatever, but you can't spend that time with me. You acting like you don't want me. She actually lets us know that they've only done the do 3 times since he's been out within an almost 2-week time frame. And she is just not having it. She is upset. And I feel like she does have a right to be upset because in her mind, she feels like he's not attracted to her. That's what he's showing her by really not trying to have intimate or private time. So I kind of feel bad for Courtney because now if I were her, I would be as confused as she is, because it's like you was telling me all the stuff over the phone, but now that you here, you just like, oh, well, I'm tired or not right now and this and that. And shoot, for real, he been locked up around men for 11 years, so maybe he's just not attracted to her. I ain't trying to make no insinuations, but it did cross my mind. So we are going to move on to Stan and Lisa. So again, Stan's at the house doing his little workout. And again, he reaches out to Lisa. She's at the hotel. And Lisa lets it be known, like, I'm out of money. I'm running low on money. So I feel like that's the reason why she chose to give Stan another chance and call him or whatever. And Stan comes. He comes straight to the room. He picks her up, takes her back to the house. And they actually seem like they have a really good day. Like, I think he rushed back over there so fast, he didn't even have enough time to put that toupee on right, because it looked like it was kind of crooked a little bit or crooked on the side. And Lisa with her little pin showing, she done straight ironed her hair, so I guess she just said bump it. I'm going to just let the pin show. It don't matter at this point. But Stan feels like since she keeps forgiving him that she actually does like him. So they end up going back to his house. He cooks them a nice steak dinner. They pop some champagne. She don't like it. And he tasted it and he was like, this really, I don't be drinking this either for real. But he is excited because after all that, her having a good day with him, she was like, let's go on down to this basement because I'm broke. I need this money and I need to figure out like what you talking about. So right now, Stan is excited. Lisa is finally giving him what he wanted, which was to go down in that basement and do whatever they be doing down there in the dungeon. And he, as far as I'm concerned, Stan is like, as long as she doing what I want her to be doing, we good. So that's them. We gonna move on to Rachel and Doug. Now they pick up where they left off with Doug arguing with his family. And Dougie is upset. Like, he told Doug F you and all this other stuff. And he told him he didn't want to speak to him because they were his aunt brought up the fact that she found those letters under his bed, and she was just still talking about it even though he didn't want to. And he got so upset and went to the truck. Doug follows him to the truck and he's trying to console him, but I feel like at the same time he's upset because he brought it up later. Now Dougie told his dad, like, look, I don't want to talk to you right now. The only person I want to talk to is Rachel. And Rachel is just standing out there like, what is going on? I just want everybody to get along. We're not even supposed to be here. Like, what is going on? So she consoles Dougie and, they leave. But not before his sister Crystal was like, look, it's just going to be a matter of time. 2 more months, he going to be back in jail. He going to cheat on you. He going to use you. He's not a good person. And that's when Doug ends up cussing his sister out. That's what we were seeing on the previews. So on the way back, Dougie's upset. He's like, I thought you were going to be positive and you're not the dad that I thought you was going to be and stuff like that. And, they come to this gas station. Doug gets out and Rachel she runs and hops in the back seat to console Dougie because she sees how upset he is because he's expecting one relationship with his dad and he's seeing, I guess, a side of him that he didn't expect to. But then again, he hasn't been around him his whole life. So he really doesn't know his dad at all, really. He knows of him and who he is, but actually being around him, like, he's just not, they're not bonding the way that Dougie thought that they were going to be bonding. So he's just really upset. But I tell you what, kudos to Rachel because she, you know, she was talking all that stuff like, oh, you're the boss and all that other stuff while he was locked up. But when it come to Dougie, Rachel do not be playing, okay? She takes Doug outside in her little covered porch area that she has in her house, and she's talking and she's like, look, maybe we need to do some family counseling because the way that you're talking to him, like, it's just not cool. Your son, he is already in a fragile state. He doesn't have you. He doesn't have his mom. Like, you really need to work on the way that you talk to him because you are just going to break his spirit. You're going to take away that last little spark that he has. And Doug's just like, you know, when I was younger, if I told my dad F off or F you, then, you know, I would be up against the wall just like the person that my dad was arguing with. Like, Doug's whole thing is, no matter what, Dougie need to respect me and he need to respect the fact that I done been to jail, like, and that I done had a hard life. It's like he wants Dougie to sympathize for him, but he's not sympathizing for his son, which is crazy. But I tell you what, Rachel was not trying to hear that. Like, she was coming gentle at first and she was like, look, maybe we need to try family counseling. Maybe it would be nice to have somebody there to intervene, to say, hey, this is the way you know, observe us and try to give us better ways to handle things and get our communication better. And Doug was just like, no, I went to see a therapist when I was in 3rd grade. I psyched out the therapist. They prescribed me some Ritalin and sent me home back to my parents, who I really needed at the time, but they weren't there for me. And guess what? I didn't take the Ritalin, and look how I turned out. This is just who I am. That's my son, and he's going to respect me like I respected my dad. And Rachel had to let him know, like, look, you didn't raise him. He is still getting to know you. And the way that you're talking to him and treating him, it's just not cool, and I'm not okay with it, and you're not going to do it in this house. And I think that took Doug by surprise because Doug was like, wait a minute, who are you talking to? And Rachel was like, all I'm saying is, if you want to enjoy this life and the 4 B's and all this other stuff, you got to communicate and get with the program, or you got to go. And Doug was just sitting there like, what? She was like, Rachel was looking like, you heard me. If you can't communicate and you keep talking to your son like that, you are going to be the one to have to go, not him. And Doug he was looking like he couldn't believe it. But I like Rachel on this episode because she put her foot down and she was like, look, you can talk to me any kind of way. You can, you know, I can deal with whatever you got to come, whatever you coming with. But that Marine side of her came out because she was like, but when it comes to that child, your baby, that 12-year-old boy that's in there, you are going to have to treat him better, or you got to go. So good, kudos to Rachel. Girl, I commend you on that because he does need that protection and to feel safe and secure. And I feel like that's what she's provided. And he knows that. That's why he wanted to talk to her instead of talking to anybody else in the moment, because he knew that that's the person he could go to, that he could talk to, that would listen to him, console him, and show him the affection and love that he probably really needs in his life right now. So that was crazy. Like, I understand he was talking to his dad crazy, but then again, he don't have no respect for his dad. He don't know him on that level. They don't have that bond. So, I mean, it is what it is. That boy is a product of his environment, and Rachel is trying to make his life better and make him into a better person. So, hand clap to you, Rachel. Like, you keep doing what you're doing. You got his best interest at heart when nobody else does, not even anybody in his family right now. So, you just keep doing what you're doing. He will definitely appreciate it and thank you for it later when he gets older. Because you know how kids can't always appreciate what you're bringing to their life initially, or they can't see the bigger picture. Their brains aren't developed enough to think that far ahead and be that emotionally mature. I mean, he's 12. I mean, he was 11 last year. The boy got to be in going in 6th grade. So I think she is definitely on the right track with him. So I hope that he does get to stay a part of her life. Now we're going to move on to Brittany and Ray. Brittany is like, she whipped already. She talking about Ray is the best that she done ever had, ever. He a love making machine and all this other stuff. So she is just all about Ray right now. However, she's not all about Grandma Susie, and I feel like that's what's gonna mess her up. Okay, because Grandma Susie is the one that's showing up. She's being there. She know what's going on. She's in the loop. And Ray seems to really respect her opinion, and the fact that she keep throwing these little cheap shots at his grandma is crazy. His grandma texted him and was like, look, I'm coming over, I'm bringing some food. And Brittany was like, okay, your grandma gonna be over here every day. She think I'm trying to kidnap you. She think I'm gonna have you in here naked with no clothes and all this other stuff. And Ray was like, well, you know what, you make sure you tell her that when she get here. So they go out on the back porch because she's taking the dog out to use the bathroom. And Ray's talking to her like, so when am I gonna meet your parents? And she's like, you know, you gonna meet them. They excited to see you. And he said, are they really though? Because in his confessional, he lets it be known like, look, it's really important for your family to know what's going on, for you to be honest with them, and for us to not have any secrets between each other. It seems like he wants an honest relationship between him and Brittany, which she should appreciate. But for her to be so worried about what he gonna be doing when he get out, she's been the one that's lying the whole time. But she breaks down and tells him like, look, my family, you know, they know that I'm talking to you. They know you exist, but they just don't know you're here. And he tells her straight up, you're not going to keep me a secret. I'm not hiding. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I feel like Ray has accepted what he's done, and he feels like he's paid the price for it. He went to jail. He got out. He's done his time, and he refuses to have to sugarcoat his life or put on airs for anybody. He's like, if they're gonna accept me, they're gonna accept me. But don't try to keep me a secret from them though. Because I feel like she's trying to protect his feelings, and he don't need nobody to protect his feelings. He's a grown man. And plus, Grandma Susie gonna make sure that his feelings are protected the best she can. So she ends up coming over. She brings food. She brings a shirt. She brings him clothes, like some shirts and stuff, because she notices that he put on some weight. And Brittany is just, her attitude is so funky when Grandma Susie come over there and visit. Like, girl, that is his grandmother that he's close to. How dare you have an attitude with her because she wants to see where he's living? Like, she's concerned about him. What's wrong with that? That's what having a healthy and stable family comes from. And I'm not saying that he had the perfect life or his whole life was stable or whatever, but she's very protective over him because she knows the type of person he is. She knows his heart. She knows what he's been through as far as like his past or whatever. And she wants the best for him, and I don't see anything wrong with that. So she comes over, and Brittany's attitude is so funky. When Grandma Susie gave her the food, Brittany was like, oh, fried chicken. Grandma Susie said, shoot, the best way to eat it, if it's hot, can you warm it up? She warms it up with the attitude. She break out the good china while they sitting up there eating some fried chicken and mashed potatoes that looked very good, especially if it was crispy, because I love a good piece of nice, hot, crispy fried chicken. And Grandma Susie's like, you know, so have your parents met him? And Brittany was like, no. And she's like, why not? Oh, well, they know he's out, but they don't know he's here. She's like, so she's telling Ray, like, it seemed like she ashamed of you. She's keeping you a secret from her family. And Brittany is just like, no, that's not it. You know, I just want to give him time to adjust. He just got out, you know, trying to hit Grandma Susie with that BS, and she was not trying to hear that. She told Ray straight up, if you feel uncomfortable here, if you're not being respected here, you can always come to my house, call me, I will come get you. rain, sleet, or snow, day or night, it don't matter. So the way Brittany was looking at her, like she was just throwing daggers at her with her eyes. And I'm sitting up there like, and she looked like she was tearing up a little bit because she knew Grandma Susie was right. If you want this man in your life, and you know, so what if your family gonna judge him? The fact of the matter is, you need to be honest with him and let them know if you're proud of the person that you with and you're not ashamed like you acting. You need to say, look, this is who this is. He's staying here. I want, you know, where's all that? I want to marry him, have kids with him. How you gonna want to do all that? You don't want to introduce him to your parents. And she's like, well, my mom just want to make sure he has something to bring to the table. The man just got out. I mean, goodness gracious, give him a chance. You don't know what he has the potential to become. Your parents don't have to see that future for y'all. As long as y'all see it and y'all working on it, that's all that matters. So Brittany need to get with the program. She need to stop lying, and she need to be honest with herself and just sit down and figure out, is she really proud to have him in her life, or is she really ashamed of him? Because that's what it sounded like right now. Or she cares that much about her parents judging her, because you know some people do revolve their lives and their decisions around what their parents' approval. But you're 30 something. You're trying to marry and have children with this man. So it's like, how long are you willing to drag this out? You see it's important to him, so just go ahead and get it done. And we see the previews in the next episode. Her parents are going to be meeting him. So I'm hoping that it goes well, because Ray seems genuine in the fact that he wants to make sure that they have a decent relationship and have a good balance when it comes to both of their families being involved in their lives. So we're going to move on to Nicole and Deontay. Okay, let's go. Because Deontay was not playing this episode, and I was just like, finally. I knew it was going to come out eventually. Because just because somebody nice don't mean that they weak and that you can walk all over them. Some people are so nice to the point where they will just keep giving you chance after chance after chance after chance until they just blow up. And that's what happened. Deontay blew up on her behind, and she couldn't take it. And okay, so the car pulls up to come and pick her up. We pick up where we left off from last week, and Deontay rides back up the street when he sees her walking down the driveway about to get in the car, and he pulls up on her like, what you doing? Oh, so this why I can't get none? This why you won't spend a night with me? Like, are you serious? You just met my mama. You know what? If that's the case, give me my phone back. You know what? Don't even worry about it. Keep the phone. I'm going to, what did he say? I'm going to get it, I'm going to deactivate the phone. So go ahead and keep it. That don't make no difference to me. Because Deontay make enough money, so he can afford to take that hit as far as continuing to pay for that phone, even though the service is off, which would probably be cheaper for him anyway. And he's like, you just met my mama. Like, are you serious? What are you doing? And he said, you know what? Don't even worry about it. He went over to that trunk. He started pulling all that stuff out, throwing all her gifts on the ground. And she just sitting up there like, Deontay, what are you doing? And the guy that was coming to pick her up, it ended up being Zach, not an Uber. And Zach was standing out there like, look, I don't know what's going on. I did not know she was lying to him that much. I didn't know it was that deep. Even though he didn't care about all that, obviously, from what happens, you know, in the next scene that we saw. But she picks up all the stuff off the street, and meanwhile she talking about something. I can't believe this is happening to me. What you mean you can't believe it's happening to you? You ain't expect that from him. Oh, I ain't think he had it in him to stand up to me. I thought he was just gonna keep letting me just treat him however I wanted to treat him, and that he wasn't gonna say nothing. I just really thought he was a sucker 100%. I ain't think that he was gonna blow up. I mean, shoot, it actually kind of turned me on a little bit. Like, girl, are you serious? It took him talking to you like that for you to feel the teeniest bit of attraction? Because in the next scene, we see her pulling back up. Mind you, all this happened at night. We see her pulling back up the night before, which means she spent the night with Zach. You spent the night with him. First time you got out, he ain't did nothing for you while you was in jail. Ain't send you no money. just have not been there for you. You ain't ask him for nothing except come pick you up. He came, picked her up. I mean, he dropped her off the next morning, and her mom and her stepmom sitting on the porch on the their little patio, mad. Her mom said, I heard what happened last night. It was so much commotion, it woke me up. And I'm standing in there, looking out the window, looking at what's going on, watching you make bad decisions. She said, now you know you was wrong. You ain't have to do that boy like that. You knew he was in love for you. You knew he would have done anything for you. He done bought you all that stuff, got you all them gifts. Like, yeah, he might seem a little strange. But at the same time, as strange as he is, I could tell that he was in love with you. And you just took advantage of him. Like, how dare you? You don't treat people like that. You don't use people like that. And her stepmom chimed in because, you know, she's been around since she was a child. She let us know that in previous episodes. And her stepmom was like, you used him. Plain and simple. You don't do people like that. You need to be honest with him and let him know what's going on. And Nicole's just sitting up there like, well, I mean, I do care about him, but, you know, I like Zach and I spent the night with him. But meanwhile, in the confessional, she like, shoot, Deontay made me mad. So I just went ahead and shoot. I felt like I was already in trouble. I might as well go all the way. So she lets us know that she spent the night with Zach. And not only did she spend the night with Zach, she had her little intimate private time with him too. I ain't gonna even say two. She had private intimate time with him. They did the do while she was with Zach. Because that's who she really attracted to and that's who she really want to be with. So it just goes to show you can spend as much money as you want to spend on somebody. If they not into you, they not into you. And there's nothing you can do. And I think Deontay learned that lesson in this episode because he was so upset in that daggone car. And at the same time, you know, her mom and her stepmom let her know, like, you was wrong. You can't treat people like that. You need to figure out who you want to be with. As a matter of fact, weren't you just talking to Tia the other day? So what's going on with her? And Nicole's like, I know, you know, I just need to get out of these wet clothes. My socks are wet. Okay, girl. So she goes in the bathroom. The episode ends with her being in the bathroom. And she's texting somebody else. And she's just in the bathroom just like taking selfies and, you know, it looked like she done redid her makeup. And she done changed clothes. And she in there taking pictures, texting somebody else. So she didn't learn her lesson. Because she basically admitted the fact that I'm going to do what I want to do. And however anybody feel about it, it don't matter. And guess what? She's the one that's going to end up falling on her face because you can't treat nobody like that and get away with it. I wish they really would have showed us some more, you know, show us Deontay again before this episode went off, but they didn't, which is fine because I'm sure that they're going to jump right back in next week. But I was really rooting for, you know, I was really surprised and blindsided by Deontay this episode, even though it was in the preview, but I didn't know it was going to go to that extent because he went off. The Marine came out of him and Rachel. So they both, you know, kind of seem like they the same, like, we all right until we not all right. Because once we not all right, you going to see that old, don't take my kindness for weakness, that's going to come out in the flesh. And that's exactly what happened. Because Rachel won't having it and Deontay won't having it either. Oh, I almost forgot about Anissa and Jeff. So Jeff tells Kyle that the woman Christine that he had been talking to, she ended up having a baby years ago. And when he thought, you know, back then that the baby was his. So he calls her mom to see, you know, check on her and their baby when he got locked up initially after the baby was born. And her mom was like, look, don't call my daughter back anymore. Don't try to contact her. It's not your baby. Just stay out of our lives. And it had been on his mind for years. So while he was in the halfway house, he had a paternity test done on the son that's 18, because he wanted to know whether that's his son or not, and he found out it is his son. So he shares that with Kyle, and he's like, man, I want to tell Anissa, but please just let me tell her. I don't want you to tell her. And Jeff, Kyle was like, I think you should really tell her. So he just asked him, don't tell her, because he's kind of testing Kyle to see if Kyle is going to run back and tell Anissa, or if he's going to kind of keep his word and let Jeff be the one to break that news to her. But Anissa comes out of the house and she's like, what y'all talking about? And he like, oh, we just chit-chatting it up out here. Meanwhile, Jeff lets it be known that he has this 18-year-old son, and his secret that he needs to share with Anissa. But, he's kind of trying to feel Kyle out to get a feel of how much he can trust him. But as we can see in next week's preview that they showed, Kyle is going to end up telling Anissa about Jeff's 18-year-old son. And I believe that is what causes the altercation that we may or may not see next week between Kyle and Jeff. So that was tonight's episode. I mean, I give this episode a thumbs up because it ended up really being good. Like, I feel like we got more of a perspective from each couple. We learned more about each couple. Besides Courtney and Josh, I feel like Josh is still kind of closed off and he's not being completely honest with the camera crew, or he's not being completely honest about how he feels about Courtney just yet. So I'm wondering, once he goes to his cousin's house, is he really going to start letting it out and being honest about how he really feels about his relationship with him and Courtney? And I'm also ready to see how Ray interacts with Brittany's family and how she does with him and her family being in one space. Like, is she just going to let them attack him, or is she actually going to take up for him? Like, I'm wondering. And I'm also wondering if Ray is going to get tired of her having animosity towards his grandma, who is just trying to be a part of his life and trying to be overprotective of him, which is fine. Everybody needs somebody to have their best interests at heart and care about them, because, I mean, shoot, if you have a good, stable family, then that's what they're going to do. They're going to care about you. They're going to worry about you. They're going to want to know that the people around you, they can trust them to not put you in any crazy situations, because you don't want your family to be hurt, especially her grandchild, who she's seen grow up from this teeny tiny baby to this grown man that she loves to death. Okay, Stan and Lisa, I mean, hopefully we get more into her world and kind of see what's going on with that, because we've already met some of Stan's friends or whatever from the first 1 or 2 episodes. So I kind of want to learn more about Lisa as this season goes on, because I feel like we don't know that much about her besides what she said. But I kind of want to see something. Like, I want to see her son or any of her kids, or I want to go into her world more, because it seemed like we've been in Stan's world for so long, like for the whole season. So I want to see more of Lisa's side of life incorporated into this. But I mean, I guess she's just doing what she can do because she hasn't been out of jail that long. But y'all, this is tonight's episode. Thank y'all for watching. Like this video, share this video with someone, subscribe to my channel so that you can see more reviews. Right now, as I said in my past video, I finally hit my 10 subscriber mark. I am trying to get to 25 subscribers, so if y'all can help me out on that, I'll be so happy. And thank you for everybody who has subscribed to me so far. I really enjoy making these reviews, and I actually look forward to making more reviews from this show and some other shows that I have in mind. So y'all have a good night. I have enjoyed reviewing this episode because it was a good episode. And I will see y'all next time. Bye, y'all. I'm like, why do I always have a hard time finding this button? Okay, I found it. Bye, y'all.